Hey, welcome back. No preamble, let's get right into this. Now, before we can start thinking about ourselves, we need to think about our students. I mean, yeah, we're sort of freaking out and trying to figure out how to make all this work, but that's nothing compared to what our students are going through. And right now, before we think of ourselves, we need to look after their needs. As Simon Sinek says, leaders eat last. Now, I understand that your college or university is sending copious emails and updating the students pretty much on a daily basis about this virus and so forth, but that's just perfunctory rote information. That's not human connection. And this is not what students need, or at least not the whole picture, when it comes to assuaging their concerns and setting them up for success in this new online environment. After all, they did not sign up for an online class. They wanted the lecture experience. And so now that's changing. We are changing their world paradigm. Now, we might think, well, gee, it's a lot of work for us and so forth, but we have relatively little riding on this. They have their grade and their GPA and their educational experience riding on it. So, in my opinion, they have more skin in the game than we do, so we need to consider that. So just to give you a little insight on my take here, my PhD is in industrial organizational psychology, which really comes down to the psychology of people as they work in groups, and a classroom as a group. Furthermore, when I was with Intel Corporation, I worked for like 10 years in, transition change management. I stumbled because we just called it TCM. Transition change management was all about helping employees move from one state to another state whenever we made major changes in employees' pay, benefits, work experience, things like that. So I really hope that you'll trust me when I say that change like this, it's not something we should be cavalier about. We need to really take it into account. All right, so with all that out of the way, how do we do this? Well, if I had to sum up the solution in one word, that word would be communication. Now, communication might sound like a simple word, but trust me, it's not. It's really quite extraordinary how complicated this can be. So with that in mind, let's think about how we want to communicate with our students at this stage, at this very early stage. Don't wait on anything we're about to talk about. Now, a quick note, as I start to talk about the things that we should include in our communications with our students, I'm going to be referring to videos. I recommend that you shoot a video. That's right, you staring into the, barrel here, and send that out to your students. Now, the things that we talk about, you actually can do in an email, but emails are not as effective and not as rich as videos. For more information about that, check out this video on communication channels to see what I mean by channel richness. Anyway, if you don't know how to do a video, don't worry. We're actually going to cover that in this video series here very, very shortly. Nevertheless, I want you to kind of jump on this right away. The sooner you reach out to your students, the better this engagement process will turn out. Okay? So with that aside, let's jump back into what we want to discuss with our students. First, let them know that you're working hard to prepare for the first day of online class. Now, it's okay if you don't have all the answers, and in fact, you can tell them, I don't have all the answers. But it's important to let them know that you're thinking about it, that you're working it, that you're looking at the problems, that you're examining solutions, and give them this sense of confidence that come the first day of class, you're going to have everything set. So give them that assurance that you're on the job. Second, provide a schedule for future communications. Now, here's the deal. During these times of stress and anxiety and change, we are absolutely ravenous for information. And so we're looking everywhere for information. And where there's no information, anxiety goes through the roof. So we start thinking, is the professor even working this issue? Do we know what's happening? Why haven't I heard anything? And then when that starts to happen, rumors come about, and rumors are never positive. The rumor's not, oh, I'm sure the professor's all over this. We have nothing to worry about. The rumors are like, are we going to get screwed in this deal? So make sure that you communicate when you're going to communicate going forward, and of course, stick to that schedule. As for myself, I've committed to communicate with my students every 2 days to let them know where I am in this transition process. Third, provide a mechanism by which students can ask questions. Now, yeah, sure, they can totally email you, but that would drive you through the ceiling, right? This is a one-on-one communication channel, email, and so you're probably going to be answering the same darn question 14 times. You don't want to do that. It's not effective for you. It's not effective for them. It raises anxiety and frustration. No good. Now, what I did is I set up a discussion group in my Canvas. That's our learning management system, LMS, and this discussion forum is a place where students can go in, ask questions, I can respond, and that way everybody has visibility to all the questions and all the responses that have been provided. This is much more efficient and gives students the sense that there is group engagement and dialogue going on. Okay, so that's our initial communication. This is something you should be jumping on right away. But now we need to look ahead just a little bit. It doesn't end just right here. Eventually, you are going to figure things out. You will get all your ducks in a row. So you need to think about how you're going to roll this information out to the students. It's not enough that you know all the answers. They then need to know the answers and how this is going to change their learning experience and your expectations of them. Now, for me, I call this a rollout event. This goes back to my corporate days. Whenever we had this big change, we would have this massive rollout, and we'd have a road show. And sometimes they were even virtual road shows. And this is what we can do in this case. By a virtual road show or a virtual rollout event, I'm talking videos, I'm talking one-on-one opportunities, I'm talking phone calls, things of that nature. Once again, when it comes to the technology, we'll talk about that here very shortly in a future video, but I just want to get your head wrapped around these ideas. In addition, you need to think about what resources your students need to be successful. So, for example, if they're used to working in groups, well, the groups were in the classroom or before class or after class. Now they're going to have to start thinking about doing this virtually, remotely, just like we are right now. All right, well, what tools do they need for this? Well, maybe they need some training on things like Google Docs or Big Blue Button or Skype or WebEx, things like this. These are tools and resources that they will need to be successful in this new online environment, and it's our responsibility to provide them that information. Well, let me rephrase that. It's our responsibility to let them know where they can go to get that information. Your e-learning department might be able to help you out there. Finally, and don't underplay this, we want to celebrate our progress as we successfully transition from lecture to online. This is new work for the students. This wasn't part of the learning objectives or the curriculum or the outcomes of the course. They're having to go through a fairly anxious, traumatic transition that they're not going to get credit for. I mean, I'm not going to give them, maybe I should give them points for it. That's a thought, right? Maybe make this into a little assignment. Okay, I digress. Anyway, the point is we want to recognize and reward them when they successfully move through the transition. And so not just the whole transition at once with just one reward, but maybe some key milestones along the way. Okay, so that's the quick and dirty about how to engage with your students. Now, of course, these are just my ideas. This is what I am doing with my students. I would love to see your ideas in the comments below. I'd like to see what you're doing to initiate this engagement. regardless of how you do it and in what way you do it, I really want to emphasize we really need to do it. Again, don't underestimate the stress that your students are going through at this time. This was not planned. This was not foreseen. They've got a lot going on right now, and now we're throwing this into the mix. Let's not be cavalier about this. As I said before, if we're going through stress on this, you can take that stress and dial it up to 11 for our students. So let's help them through this. Like I said, leaders eat last. Think of them first, and then we'll think about us. And actually, we'll be thinking about us here real quick in the next video where I start to talk about how to deliver online lecture material. And yeah, we want to make this good and easy and straightforward for us. I promise I'll take care of you. All right? Have a fantastic day.